Good evening. We call the Hawarden, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, February 13th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Just a reminder to those that are married, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, just saying, so get out there and do what you have to do. We have two council members that are gone this evening, Tim and Jen, otherwise the rest of us and staff members are here. A number of agenda items tonight, again going through some utility budgets and general fund budgets again. So, standard agenda item number 1A is approval of the January 23rd, 2019 City Council meeting minutes. You've had those in your packet.
So moved.
Second.
Good. Motion by Travis, second by
John. Me.
John. Thank you. Questions or clarifications? All in favor then of the January 23rd, 2019 City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 3-0. Approval of the February 13th, 2019 claims for payment. Questions of Rob? Any questions?
No question.
Okay. John?
None, thanks.
Travis, questions?
None. I'll make a motion to approve it, withdrawing 53286.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Been a motion and a second. Any further questions? All in favor then of the February 13th claims for payment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And again, that passes 3-0. Open business from the community. Hearing none, we'll move to the mayor's report. Nice card from Rob and Michelle Klecki, City of Hawarden Council and Mayor. Thank you so much for your care, concern, and prayers sent for Rob's speedy recovery. We also appreciated the gift brought to the house. Rob is fortunate to be a part of such a wonderful community. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Betcha. Glad you enjoyed the gift.
Yep.
We're kind enough also to receive a letter from Dean and Carol Beloit. This was also a letter to the editor, but Dean sent this to me personally, wishing for us to include this in my report to the council. What a treasure our library is to Hawarden, and the literary and visual materials are current and outstanding. They have a variety of programs for all ages. What is equally important is the courtesy and knowledgeable assistance provided. Help is always there with a smile. Well done, director and staff. Signed by Dean Beloit. Next is a letter of clarification from Raymond L. Wicker. I'd like to address a statement that was made at the last City Council meeting. It was stated that the rides bus averaged 2 passengers a day. That is not correct. There are 2 passengers that ride every day. The number of other passengers varies, sometimes 2 to 3, other times 7 or 8. It is also stated that passengers paid $2 per ride. This is for a one-way trip. Most riders go to their destination and then return. Some go to their destination and want to go to the grocery store or the drugstore. My reports are based on the number of trips rather than the number of riders. When I pick someone up and return them home, that is 2 trips or $4. Should be noted that I take riders to and from Hillcrest, Micah Hill, Oak Hill, Hawarden Hospital to see visiting doctors for blood draws, and many for therapy. The Hawarden Family Medical Center to Dr. Monty Harvey's office, to Vision Care, to Family First Dental, to Back to Health, to Booth Drug, to Transformations and Hair on 3rd, to the grocery store, to Baumgar's, to the thrift shop, to Dollar General, the banks, and to the daycare. Got pretty much the community covered, I think. That's good. I'm currently taking 2 or 3 children home from Head Start preschool. While these trips don't happen every day, the people that use the bus depend on the bus to get them to their necessary appointments. I understand the need to increase ridership. The number of riders depends on the weather, what special doctors are in town, and the hours the bus is available. Be happy to discuss these concerns with you. Sincerely, Raymond L. Wicker. Ray, we thank you for your work with that, and thank you for the letter. Our congratulations to Jason Jans, who was selected the Hawarden Fire Department Member Fireman of the Year. Thanks also for the year-end reports from the Hawarden Police Department, Hawarden EMS, and the Hawarden Fire Department that are within our packets today. Thanks for all of the committed people who serve our community. We wish to Wish Chad Krebs all of the best as he leaves the Hawarden Police Department after almost 29 years of service. His last shift will be Tuesday, February the 26th. When you get a chance to see Chad, please thank him for his commitment to our community. Thank you, Chad, for all of you've done. Great things are happening at West Sioux, from successful basketball and wrestling to success in Special Olympics and speech. Also, there are a large number of students that have made the A honor roll and the B honor roll. It's exciting for our community to be able to be around young people that are striving for great success in many different venues. We were presented at our last meeting many different upcoming projects. I would hope that you would give us your thoughts on the many projects that were brought up. And lastly, Travis, our sympathy to you with the passing of your grandmother, Norma Vandermoor.
Thank you.
We'll move on to staff reports. We'll start, please, with Jacob, Finance Director.
So we've just been continuing to work on our budgets. I had somebody here that week that we had our last meeting to help train me in the system and get us back so I can make it talk more with the reports that I do with the state, and everything is going pretty well. Nothing new has come up since then, so.
Great, glad it's going well. Travis?
I'd just like to bring up, we've been having some issues at the Avenue E lift station north of the park by the camper pads. There's been some things that are getting into the sanitary sewer system that shouldn't be put in there. For example, cotton mop head, clothing. Not even sure how they're getting in there, but just like to advise the public to keep our sewers clean with only putting things that are meant to go in there. We usually we pull those pumps for maintenance 1 to 2 times a year, and over the last 3 months we've had to pull them 4 times to unplug them with certain things. So, and I'd also like to remind everyone to get their vehicles off the road during snow. That really helps our plows. We can get down to the main level and not have to go around all the vehicles, and kind of leaves snow piles all around town. And if they could leave them off the road, even through the next day, we could like to go back with the road grader sometimes and get that scraped, packed snow down. So, just a reminder.
Got to notice I got that this afternoon or this morning on 16th Street, and it sure works nice on those concrete
All right,
streets.
they can get right down.
Get right down to it and get that ice off of there.
Yep.
So, good. Thank you. Mike?
Just the EMS director, Jeff, is working on selling the third ambulance. You probably see it sitting outside the fire station. We've had 2 people give us bids on it, and we're waiting for a guy to come up from Kansas City on Saturday that wants to take a look at it. So we'll accept one of the offers as soon as this guy comes up. We've told him we would wait for him. Travis and I have met with engineers for the Main Street overlay, as well as the street lighting and curb repair. They're working up some preliminary estimates. As soon as we get those, we'll bring them back to council. And then we also met with Stone Group Architects in reference to a downtown facade program that we're looking at for May of 2020. One of the things that they want is renderings of, for the grant, we need renderings of what some of the buildings will look like. So we want to have our businesses on Main Street think about partnering with us in fixing some of those up or improving some of those. So that'll be later. The grant opens in November and closes in May of 2020. So it gives us enough time to do everything they need us to do. Also on the economic development position, as soon as we go through the budgets and everything is agreed upon, we're going to start advertising for that, so I look for that to happen real soon. And we'll just see how long it takes us to fill that position with the right person.
Thank you. Anything, Mr. Pickner?
No, I don't have anything.
All right, thank you for that. Well, didn't mean it that way.
No news is good news.
Well, from your standpoint, ours too. Corey, please.
Just a couple things. I want to reiterate what Travis had said about the parking on the street during the snow removal. I've had a few people not understand that. Anytime that it snows, we need to get the vehicles off the roadway so that way we can get the plows through, get the roads cleaned up. It's not an option if you choose to leave it there or not. If your vehicles are on the streets and the officers are out and they see it, they will cite you. We've had enough forewarning this year so far that everybody should be on board with that. The last snow we had, I think we had 22 citations that we had to write, and then this very last one was only 11, so we cut that in half just by enforcing it the first time. So we haven't had a lot of snow dates where we needed to remove them, so hopefully this is, one of the vehicles that gets people to move their vehicles. The other one is parking in front of the school, the elementary school. In the afternoons to pick up your kids. We've been pretty diligent sitting down there for about the last 4 weeks to get parents to stop trying to pick their children up from the front doors of the school. We've had people 3 ways all the way across the street preventing the flow of traffic. Kids darting out, not using the crosswalks. One kid almost got run over. So we've had some parents really concerned about that. So we spent the last 4 weeks moving people along, getting them to park on the south side. By the church there, that is a parking lot, and that is 12th Street that sits there, so we do need to keep that open for flow. Other than that, we've had one successful day where nobody stopped there, so we're getting close to where people are starting to learn the process. We haven't had to cite anybody, just try to educate and move them on, so other than that, that's it.
Okay, thanks for keeping the kids safe over there. Anything from council and comments or questions of staff from council members? If not, we'll move on to other agenda items. Agenda item number 3, request from Tuesdale Oil to purchase the city-owned lots in the industrial park. Ryan, go ahead and address the council if you would, please. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah, I guess over the past 6 months to a year, we've been looking for opportunities to expand our bulk plant that we have down on 9th Street in Hawarden. I guess I'm here tonight as a company representative to pass along what feedback and options we have. And with talking to Mike, I think there's some property located in the industrial park that, as we've been limited on space with regard to what we have on 9th Street and we continue to grow, we're needing some room as far as being able to expand our the gallons that we can store, and also to keep up with customer demand. As we look at it and options that we have, the industrial park stuck out to us, and that was the result of putting the proposal together. We weighed a variety of options and locations as far as potential company investment. Took into consideration, I think, some benefits that are down there with regard to where the company's customer base is located, wanting to keep our bulk plants in operations pretty centrally located, close to each other, and also, in Hawarden, if at all possible. And I think look forward to continue to grow in the community. And like I said, as far as those lots that are located down in the industrial park, they're big enough from the standpoint that they would allow future growth for our storage needs, but also the potential addition of a truck shed or some different opportunities that we may pursue long-term. So it just, Mike had asked me to come and kind of give an overview of what we're looking to do. I guess some of that expansion we've taken some bids on already, and some of it's specialized with regard to propane equipment and that type of things, but also we would look to hire local contractors as much as possible from the standpoint of, cranes and installation, dirt work, things like that. So kind of where we're at as far as business opportunities that we have, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight and kind of give you guys some more insight of what that proposal outlines.
In our packet, we have, and Mike's got it up there, the 2 lots that you're looking at in the industrial park, and that, so the white building is the existing.
It's the existing with the previous spec building,
building.
Anderson Trucking Building at this point.
Okay.
And like I had kind of mentioned, our existing bulk plant on Ninth Street is limited with regard to area, but also different fire codes and things like that that are in place with regard to distance from property lines, distance from roads, things like that. I mean, all this would give enough room, I guess, to meet some of those requirements that are in state as far as expansion that we're looking at.
Would you be looking at a south side access only, or would you hope for a north side as well?
There would be some convenience to be able to pull transports all the way through. That being said, initially, we were really just looking at one lot. But as you start penciling out distance to lot lines, distance to highways, and future growth, potential sheds, things like that, 2 lots made more sense. So while it would be nice to be able to even pull on a gravel road on the north side, it certainly wouldn't be necessary out of the gate.
Utility-wise, where does that stop? Is it right by Anderson's shed right now, or?
We have electric and sewer on the southwest corner,
in
and
that
the
station.
gas and water would be on the north section by Anderson's.
Immediate need would be, until we got farther down the road with regard to a shed, we'd probably just, electric and water would be the 2 we'd need out of the gate there.
And do you know from the Economic Development Committee, was that price established based on a known estimate for
The
extending that?
established price that I found was in 2011. It was set at $24,000 per acre. The assessed value of the lots is 21.6. So the price is below that. I'm not sure how they came on the 24,000 an acre. I know industry-wide, industrial lots, of course, are more expensive traditionally. So I think that's why those were put up there. There was also an incentive in the 2011 packet that, based upon job creation, 1 to 9 jobs, I believe, dropped the price down $1,000, and 10 to 20 was another $1,000. So that's what was created back then from the development standpoint.
That was 2011?
11.
Yeah, I guess I fully support keeping business in town. I mean, it's easier to keep what we have than to try and find new. So I guess I'd like to work with it, but still know that we have some investment to make, that we should be fair.
Right, and we will. I think the plan has always been, as we sell lots farther to the east, is move our infrastructure farther to the east as well. So, there's going to be investment as we go. This particular project may not require it right away, but I think, we want to look at that. We want to keep it looking professional and keep it looking as an industrial park. So, gravel roads, although short-lived, may be a good stopgap. I wouldn't envision that as a long-term.
Yeah. And then would you plan to relocate everything down to those 2 new lots, or would you maintain what you have currently?
No, we would need to continue to use where we're at on Ninth Street. And yeah, there's some thought on maybe developing that a little bit more, just with regard to what we can do out of that plant. But no, so we would look to utilize both, I guess.
Okay.
Ryan, what's your timeline for this year for the bottle and things like that?
A little dependent on, I just talked with Dean before I came here. It's a little dependent on the weather. A lot of installation as far as the piers and things like that hold that work better in late spring, early summer, but as soon as possible. And with regard to, assessed value, and we don't know what that would come in at, obviously on the new lots, but my guess is we're going to be north of what we have on the existing lot on on Ninth Street. So it'll be a significant investment as far as that goes.
What is your assessed value on the,
And the current,
yeah,
I think it's in the 90,000 range, yeah. If that's taxable or, yeah, that, or what we put into it initially, but, yeah. And this will be bigger than that, as far as volume capacity, things like that.
I'd say, is that something we give support for the project, but maybe negotiate a little better on where we're at
yeah,
price-wise?
you can certainly send that back to staff, and then Ryan and I can sit down and talk more on, I mean, if you're looking at price, or you're looking at incentives, or you're looking at
Right.
something like that, we can sit down and then bring it back. I know the next meeting, we will still have not a full council. I believe in March, we'll have close to a full council, but one short, so, you know, we can bring it back any of those times that both you guys are comfortable with, and that's why I was wondering on your timeline.
Yeah, I should clarify a little bit. I mean, as far as installation goes,
Right.
that would be, you know, spring, summer, but our deposits would need to be down, you know, months ahead of that. So you're probably looking at early spring with regard to us knowing where that's going to go and starting to work on some of the permits that we'll need from a fire marshal and, you know, government standpoint.
And from city standpoint, obviously, if they do their project, they covers all the, lack of a better word, hazard and all those types of things to the community. We don't have to be, how do we get tied in with that anyway?
I think a lot of that's fire marshal, honestly.
Okay.
But, and I'm not familiar with the setbacks and all that kind of thing, but I guess that'd be a question I would have. You're not going to be close enough to change the use of either of the lots that are adjacent to that, right?
No, ours would all be from
Within
property
your
lines.
lot.
You bet, yep. And there's all kinds of regulations in place with regard to crash protection, locks, things like that, all, you know, no different than we have on the other one, but, yeah, replicated, I guess, on a new lot or new area.
I think we've done some things, I don't know if it was before or after this 2011, but we did something with mow and glow and something, I think, with storage units down there, haven't we?
We did a variance with Mow and Glow because it was under the 1 acre requirement. The storage units, I believe we also had to do a variance with them because of the use and the 1 acre requirement. I don't know if we've done a lot on price. We've done development agreements with some of the prices.
They had to get I think on both of those, they had to put up a building of a certain value is how we approached that. I don't know, is your tank, that's taxed as real estate? I'm really not up on propane tanks.
It would be, I would guess, taxed similar to the existing bulk plant.
Yeah, well, I guess we could check a little bit of that out, you know, check with the assessor and a few things to get an idea of what we're gonna get back, but.
And I know normally on some of those property purchases, they've been required to complete the buildings within a specified, I don't know if it was 18 months or something of that nature.
Get the improvements done, substantial completion, otherwise we would keep an option to take the property back.
Correct.
That's some things we've done.
Okay.
Whether that's the thing to do here, I don't know.
Keep working with Ryan, and we can have those conversations and continue to disseminate it to the council members, and, you know, individually, they can give us background thoughts too, so.
We have to allow a little bit of time, you know, a meeting to propose the sale of the real estate and then a final, so that's got to work into it too.
Right, so we
They'll
don't want to,
publish it, and so.
we don't want to delay it as much as we can. Is that all right with council members?
Yep.
Okay. Right, Ryan?
Sure, yep.
Thanks for being with
Appreciate the
us.
opportunity. Thank you.
Appreciate your interest in building your business. Agenda item number 4 is a resolution 2019-02, resolution of the City Council for the Incorporated for authorizing an application to the Iowa State Revolving Loan Fund for a water resource restoration sponsored project. Kind of what we talked about last month, or last meeting.
Talked about the sponsor project is basically an offshoot of our water treatment plant financing, which what they do is they give you 10%, but they lower the interest rate is how they do that. And so this just says that you guys are in favor of us looking into a sponsored project.
So it doesn't obligate us to anything at this point.
Doesn't obligate us to anything.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Travis, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Rob. Further questions? A roll call vote for Resolution 2019-02.
Feldhacker.
Aye.
Clucky.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
On a 3-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2019-02 passes. We're going to move into budget time again for agenda item number 5 is kind of an overview again of the utility budgets, and I'll turn it to Travis and Mike.
Basically, this was on there in case anybody had any last-minute questions or follow-up questions on the utility portion. We kind of went through those pretty thoroughly at the last meeting, and just want to entertain if anybody has any questions.
And within those, you had some of the outlays, project outlays and those types of things all written out, and
Yep.
okay.
Some of the equipment some of the utility equipment that we'll replace and things like that.
It's already been budgeted, a bucket truck and a few things, excavator, okay.
Looks good.
Rob, any questions, or John, about utilities?
No, I
Okay.
think we're on
Right.
track.
Okay, we'll get a little more in-depth. We're going to move on then to agenda item number 6. This is kind of an overall review of the general fund budgets for fiscal year 19 and 20.
I think we'll go over these kind of like we did the utility budgets. We'll just quick overview and what they are. Legislation administration is the council and the mayor. That's where we take the audit out of here, legal publications, legal fees, things like that. That is funded equally by each utility and the general fund. It's not a huge increase for this year, so I guess you guys aren't getting a raise. Any questions on that one? If not, we'll go to, as you can see the next page, that's how we split up the cost, general funds, utilities. We have the city attorney's funds, things like that in there, so that's where some of those numbers come from.
On city attorney, has that changed over? I'm just posing a question. 10 years, 15, 20?
I don't know, 16, 17, 18 years, I suppose.
It's been,
It's remained the same.
Try to hold the costs down.
If
not that we're
Jim-
getting any less good legal advice, I'm
Right.
just saying that now's the time maybe to address that a little
You
bit.
might be, I'm fading a little all the time, so fine with it.
If Jim decides to retire someday,
You have to raise
then
it.
we'll find out what other cities are paying for legal fees.
That's what I'd like to point out to the public, is we're
I
getting
can
pretty
guarantee
well
it's
blessed. in
not going to be an amount
legal fees.
So,
Well, I agree, if
Multiply
I
by
can get
3.
somebody to come in sometime, I think you guys will probably need to support them financially a little more than that, so.
so with that, we do thank Jim for his reasonable fees, but not only that, you can call him anytime, probably not in the middle of the night, but, and he's helpful. I think he does way above and beyond what we're going to see out of any other city attorney, so very valuable resource.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you. We're truly blessed. Sorry to interrupt, but I needed to inject that, of
That's
course.
perfectly fine. The next one's general administration. This is part of my salary. Pam, Tracy, our billing clerk, Tom Erickson, and Jacob are paid out of here. You're going to see a somewhat of an increase in there. Part of that is due to Pam moving out of the finance officer position and into the front office. So otherwise, if you look at the salaries and the fringe benefits are the biggest things that moved. Utility service, you're going to notice that throughout the utilities, that has gone up, and that's due to us getting rid of the intergovernmental rate. And as we looked at that through the budget, I think we feel really good about doing that. So we did have the copier lease under something else, and through Data Tech, they moved that out to its own line item. You remember what we had that under? It was under contractual services or something like that, and they moved it out. That was some of the things that they've helped us with through the budgeting. So there's going to be a slight increase in that, and that's funded again through the utilities and general fund tax dollars. You'll see that on the next page. The utilities pay into that by percentage, and then the general fund makes up the largest percentage of that. Next, we have police protection, and I do want to say that all of our general fund folks, as police, library, ambulance, and fire, really kept things in check, which was nice. The matter of fact, when we get to the library, I'll point that out. I think that was even a reduction. So, police protection, basically, what's gone up is salary and benefits. Everything else is really consistent, as you can see. That's one of the things that you look for in that I've always looked at in the police department is, you know, the salaries and benefits go up, everything else stays the same, and so I'll take any questions on that. We're not buying any new police cars or anything this year, so we're in pretty good shape there. Next up is fire services. There again, the fire services budget has remained fairly consistent. Utilities, their share have gone up a little bit, which caused somewhat of an increase. But otherwise, the grant expense, we did put some money in there for a grant expense. They actually received the grant last fiscal year, and it's spent this fiscal year, so we do have to expense that out. So we couldn't show it as a revenue because they received it the last fiscal year and spent it this one. So no big changes there. Ambulance service, there again, the revenue was brought down a little bit just because we saw a little bit drop of revenue. The runs that they're making are just as many, just different periods of time that the revenue comes in. Whether it's Medicare or private insurance, they all take time to pay, and sometimes it bleeds over from one year to another. So, but otherwise, that has not changed a whole lot. They're not anticipating any purchases this year. They did just receive a grant for a Lucas machine, which is one of those machines that they can put on somebody that does the chest compressions. And that's coming at no cost to them. We have to send 2 ambulance people down to Des Moines for the training for 4 hours, and they bring it back with them. So Jeff continues to look for different ways to add to their equipment or replace equipment as they need it. So it's been real helpful.
The contractual fees under expenditures for $20,000.
That is for PCC, their billing company.
Okay.
They do all the billing. We send them the run reports. They do the billing and most of the collections for us that they can. And they get basically 10% of the revenue that they collect. They do it for several services anymore. They keep up with all the insurance company changes, Medicare changes, everything like that.
Exactly, because we changed with them, 5 years ago or
Yes.
something, and it's
Yep.
gone I mean, got it out of here and somewhere
Right.
where they're specialized with that.
Yep. So,
Okay.
so that's kind of staying this, pretty much the same. Roadway maintenance, there was a little bit of an increase in there because we had to move Ricardo. We had, out of General Utility Administration, we had Ricardo in there, and they did away with that account, so we had to put Ricardo into the roadway maintenance at 42%. So that's going to be your biggest increase you see in there. We did budget at 72.5 for seal coating, which we budgeted 60,000 last year and spent about 70,000. So we upped that a little bit. Otherwise, I don't see a lot of changes in there. If anybody's got any questions, I'll certainly entertain them. We did, supplies and minor equipment went down some. Travis, you see anything else?
We added a little bit for sidewalks. There's a couple sidewalks we'd like to replace by the swimming pool, the west side of the swimming pool. It's narrow and pretty broken up. And then another one down on 10th and Avenue F. Be the northeast intersection. There's an empty lot there.
Last year, we did repair some spots on the walking trail as well, so just to kind of keep up with some of those. That funding, some of it comes from road use tax from the state, other comes from the general fund. Library board, this budget was actually lower than the previous year, which I appreciate. I think Lori's kept things in check really well, and the facility's in good shape, so we're not expecting anything big or new there, and just appreciate the work that she's done with the library. Library also gets funding from other programs too. The county pays a portion. You get some from the state as
We
well?
get state aid, and the county are the key ones.
Right, so that does help us out in not having to fund the entire balance. Recreation programs, things have stayed about the same. Some are general activities. We raised insurance a little bit. We raised utilities a little bit, and that's for some of the ball fields and things like that, so. And then summer rec is gonna stay the same. Director and 3 staff, and, baseball, softball, tennis. Swimming pool, we went down just a little bit. We're gonna have a new manager this year. Jalen Blankenship is gonna manage. She's been the assistant manager for several years. Holly has decided not to come back after years and years with the pool. Kathy could probably tell us how many years. 25 years with the pool, so we appreciate her dedicated service, and actually, unbeknownst to her, she was probably training the next manager for us, so we feel really good about Jalen coming back. Jalen's got most of the lifeguards coming back, so we're probably, with lifeguard-wise, I don't think we're in as much of a panic this year because we got some new ones last year, and they've decided to come back and enjoy another summer with us, so. General programs, there are, Calliope Village, or historical buildings, city beautification, cemetery, senior citizens. We were able to lower the storm spotters by $900 because they don't have to buy pagers and radios anymore through that every other year thing with the county. That's taken that out. We haven't done anything with flood control for a long time. Streetlights, they're still removing some streetlights and changing to LEDs. If you look at the utilities portion, that's gone up from 4,000 to about 15,000. We think it's always probably been higher. We just weren't accounting for about half of the streetlights. So we went through and did an inventory of them and added the electric onto those. So, and then supplies we lowered, so it's kind of balanced out. Animal control has gone down, just based on history. We just haven't needed as much. Big Sioux River Historical Society, utilities is going to be the big change in that as well. Otherwise, we're still going to continue to fund them where we had been. If you look at the amount of buildings that they maintain, and then that is something that we show off for our community. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of them to the point of that they can keep and maintain things. Hawarden Arts Council donation. Denise is still around. I don't think she's found a replacement for her yet, but we've given that amount probably for about as long as we paid Jim what we pay him. Elections is going to be about the same. Cemetery has gone up just a little bit, and salary and fringe benefit increases. We still take 58% of Ricardo out of that one. So what we do there is we try to buy mowers more often so that we don't have the maintenance issues, get better trade in.
Yeah, we've got 3 mowers right now, and then I've added in the park. So every year there'll be a new mower. Every 3 years will be up there, and then 1 year will be at the park. So.
General programs, this is probably where you're going to see your biggest change. Senior Citizen Center, we went ahead and we still pay them $3,000 a year. I know it says fees in lieu of rent, but basically they apply that towards their insurance and everything. Hospital auxiliary, we moved that to the utilities to an actual line item out of general administration utilities. The senior center utilities, that's increased just due to the intergovernmental rate, and then the rides bus, they've requested for next year another $8,000. With that $8,000, we do get a private donation of $2,000 to offset that, so that it's a net of $6,000 for us. Community and economic development, this is the category that's going to change some. We put in a number of about $65,000 for a salary, and then fringe benefits for the new position. It's a target number that we're looking at. Travel and training, that's been increased. If we're going to have somebody in that position, we are going to need to allow them to go out and market our community. Marketing and advertising has gone up. We're transferring that out of TIF funds. Dues and subscriptions, Northwest Iowa Development and Professional Developers of Iowa, those dues will be covered under that. Contractual services, the chamber, we're going to continue to fund the chamber at the amount that we have been. And then we had to add in the rebate agreement we made with Kelly Eisma on there, and then supplies for the economic development position. So there's a larger increase in there, but it's adding a new position. Golf course is going to remain the same, just drop just a little bit. They really don't have anything to transfer out into the general fund facility. They don't, we pay them, so we've removed that. We give them an annual stipend of $10,000 and just general supplies, and that's more for our stuff that we have out there, our utilities, our wells, or whatever we have out there is the $300. So that's going to remain the same. We do purchase the equipment for the golf course, and this year we're looking at a greens mower. And we have an option on one. It's a brand new one. It's the past year's model. So we took the option on that one, and that's 40,
Yeah, I misspoke. It's a fairway mower.
or fairway more.
Yep.
And that's about, what, 43,000?
Yes.
So. Otherwise, if we would have taken the current year's model, it would have went up 5,000, so. Community center's gonna remain the same. Helipad insurance, somewhere in that same ballpark. Supplies are kind of for the lights and things like that that are up there. Jason has been looking into the cost it would cost for the hospital to take over that fee, but since we haven't heard back for sure, it's in there. Obviously, if the hospital, it's paid up till November. If the hospital would take it over, we just would not spend that. Parks and playground, hasn't gone up much. You know, we need to get some more mulch. We buy that by the semi-load. We've got a new mower in there from Capital Equipment, but otherwise, everything is about the same there. So. And then that brings us to the last page, which shows the general fund revenues that we've gone through on all of those budgets. And that goes into this form. And towards the bottom of that page is what we're looking for, or the third page into that. It's total revenues versus expenditures. We're projecting our total expenditures our revenues in the general fund to be 2.236 million and our expenditures to be 2.231 with a net of 4,300. We will be transferring in, our transfers will actually be 300,000 from electric to offset the general fund, not counting what comes in from legislative and general administration. I think the 366 you see is with those other two in there. But if we're looking just at comparison apples to apples with other years, it'll be 300. And that is your general fund in a nutshell. The next page, the last page, is basically how you come up to that 2.26 million. So any clarification, questions, concerns, comments? You know, our transfer from utilities last year was 150. It's 300 this year, but we're adding a whole new position. And that's going to take up just about 150,000 of that, of those funds. Next year, we will use some TIF funds to offset that new position, so our transfers will then go back down.
There's pretty close to 30,000 just in the extra utility budgets because the transfer.
Yeah.
Right, so we were doing transfers, but it wasn't.
Right, they just weren't transparent.
Yeah.
And that's what we tried to do, is just be transparent, and so, you know, there's no surprises, or, you know, some of the things that we looked at earlier, you know, we didn't know we were doing, but we were doing, and so.
We appreciate that.
So if everybody's okay with it, we'll put it together. The next meeting, we will have on the agenda to set the public hearing for the March 13th meeting. At that time, we'll have the public hearing and the adoption of the budget. It's got to be certified by the 15th of March, so that'll give us time to do that and get it over to the county. But in the meantime, if anybody's got any questions over the next 2 weeks that you're lying awake at night wanting to know about, just call, text, email, and we'll get it answered.
And just so everybody knows, those two council members that are missing tonight have had all this in their packets, so they're able to see it all too, even though they're not present tonight to
Yes,
give you individual feedback. That's
right. With Jen, we sat down and went through it knowing she was going to be gone, and she didn't have any concerns. Tim has not gotten a hold of me with any concerns. though he did email me the other day and said that Hawaii was really nice, so,
Hope you thanked him for that.
yeah.
All right, any other questions about general fund budgets this evening? If not, we'll move on to the last agenda item, which is a consent agenda. We're planning a liquor license transfer on Tuesday, March the 12th. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So move.
Moved by John, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes 3-0. Our next regular stated meeting will be Wednesday, February the 27th, 2019. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
A motion by John, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you for not opposing. City Council's adjourned. Thanks for your attendance.